Hello and welcome back to another jam-packed episode 120. It's a century in cricket, it is extra time in soccer, and I don't know rugby, but it is a lot of time spent there, isn't it? I'm your host, Jason. I'm back. We are back in the Hello Dolls again. This isn't a green screen. I'm back here at HQ. Although tonight you guys will know me as AF Parker 642.
Yeah, that's when you have the late run into the box.
Exactly that. Look here, AF didn't know that I was here. I was just knocking on his door and he had to open up for me. So yeah, apparently I had my privileges revoked here from HQ. But I'm joined by AF, my in-person co-host. How's it going?
I'm all right. I was actually like in the kitchen getting like the peanut butter and bread out because I thought
it's cold, guys.
You know,
it's cold. The guy needs supper.
No, I was thinking because I thought it was somebody at the door for a piece of bread or something.
Okay, well, we'll definitely take it offline because now you've promised me something and I want some peanut butter and bread. But we are joined as well by our foreign correspondent, Ziad Parker. How's it going?
Yeah, all good, man. I know, with the episode, you're always looking to rush to supper afterwards. So at least now you know something's waiting for you from AF.
No, 100%. But now if he's offering me that, it's cold, I need coffee as well. Okay, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, the coffee wasn't made before the
No,
time.
no, fair play. Yeah. And lost soldier since, what's it been, the 22nd or the 23rd of May. Nobody's seen him. Nobody's heard him. His team wins something and suddenly the guy goes ghost.
Radio silence.
Riaz Parker, talk to me, my friend. How are you? Welcome back. Give us some emotions here.
Right, I appreciate that. You know, it's better than saying, you know, our friend here, he's been all up in everybody's grill, telling everybody their block, you know. It's better than saying that. I'd rather just disappear and not like rub it in your faces. Isn't that better?
I think he's lying. I think he was a secret weapon that Nasser Al-Khelaifi flew to Qatar to make sure that PSG win, you know, since he had experience winning a European trophy with Spurs.
That could be fair. Riaz, we haven't seen you now for almost 2 weeks. Tell us firstly, congratulations. It hurts me as an Arsenal fan to say that, but how are you feeling? Ange in his second season has won something, but it looks like they might kick him out. Talk to us here. Yeah. Talk to us. What's happening in North London?
It's very odd, eh? Firstly, it's a very unsettling feeling because it's not something that I felt very often. So it's quite unsettling. Other than that, it's been really good. I'm very sad about this whole situation that they're gonna kick Ange out because I mean, once again, there's no one to come in that's gonna be better than him. So it's gonna be difficult to find a replacement. So I would love to stick with him. But other than that, it's been different. It's really odd to win something, and I'm just glad we ended up getting across the line, especially because other people didn't really deserve it more than we did. Other people just get to finals and somehow win it somehow. They just somehow get trophies. So, you know, I'm just happy that we ended up getting over the line. Also, and I noticed when I watched last week's episode that what are you skinning about this? Say it with your chest.
We're saying that a scrappy goal wins it, even if the team is weak and they win it by a scrappy goal. So that's fine. At the end of the day, Spurs have a trophy, right?
100%.
Somehow.
That's the thing.
It happened, I suppose. But yeah, it's been oddly unsettling. It's great to see. Mubin, I'm not sure what football you watch, but it must be the losers POV. So just keep it down there. We played some football. But
looking for that participation trophy.
That's usually what I'm used to getting. So there's no shame in it. There's no shame in it at the end of the day. But yeah, I noticed last week also. Yeah.
Nah, you just enjoy it, man. Don't worry about all those comments.
You just ride the wave, my friend. What did you notice last week? Tell us that, because that's now the third time that you've been cut off trying to say that. What did you notice last week?
I noticed last week that you guys, it was a great episode, firstly. But secondly, thank you. I appreciate it because I'm extremely short. But because you had quite a long intro segment last week, AF swiftly moved on and skipped over the Europa League final review. So he swiftly skipped over that, very unbeknownst to everybody else. But I caught it. So that was very slick of you, AF, but not slick enough. And
it was actually very asperous.
I know, but nobody called you out in it.
He's seen me cry live on the channel. He said that's not for him. That's not his life. That's not his portion that he wants to show to the internet. So, yeah.
I'm not actually. Like I said, it's unsettling.
He has had like this huge roller coaster. He's won the trophy, like experienced this huge dub, got into the Champions League. Then he got the news that Ange might be sacked.
Yeah.
And then today he gets the news that his favorite player is going to City.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
now next season, first episode, Riaz comes here with a Man City jersey.
Probably.
Then the kick collection is gonna grow even further. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it off and he's got like an old school Batistuta PSG jersey on there, or like
PSG.
Pochettino PSG. Pochettino PSG. That's the one.
I like it.
Now, good to have you back. Good to have you here. We'll bring in Tajani Reinders a little bit later, but for now, for 120, we've got a bit of a jam-packed one lined up, as I mentioned. So we're going to start. It is silly season. It is the 4th of June, which means the transfer window is open. So we'll be touching on a few transfers, some deals that have been done, some rumors that are currently circulating. Everybody's linked to everybody, and it's all just a matter of can you find the right price and the right wages, and if Jadon Sancho wants to go somewhere. We will talk a bit about the UEFA Champions League final as well. Obviously, a very one-sided game, an extremely interesting affair. And then just something for those that are in the chat now, just to give thought to, we'll also be talking about our team of the season. So if you want to put your teams in the chat, we'll then review it a bit later. We've got our selections. Please don't hate us. There might be a bit of bias. There might be a bit of hatred, but it's what we figured. So there's no parameters to it. You just need to make sure that they actually play in the Premier League. As much as I love the Bochum Kwena, the South African midfielder, he can't be in the Premier League team of the season. Okay, so we'll jump straight into the transfers. And we've got, at HQ, we have a lot of nifty tricks. Okay, so today we'll be talking about Benjamin Sesko. No surprise that the Arsenal fan talks about the player linked to Arsenal. We've been crying out for this guy for, I think, last year, August, then January this year. A lot of talks going on. A fee in excess of 65 mil. So I'm not sure whether the price tag is going to be less than 65. But talking to Victor Gyökeres and Sesko, it looks like we could get this guy in very quickly, very soon. 6'4". Arteta seems like he's building the Avengers. And yeah, if we don't score from every corner, I will have concerns. But we'll take that up next season with Nicolas Jove. So that's my interest at the moment. There's a lot of chatter happening. So one to definitely keep your eyes open for. We can move on to the next one there, HQ. And we've got Ait Nouri to City.
Yeah, I mean, City have, like, I wouldn't say they've been lacking on that side because they've had, like, Josko Vardiel playing left back, and then who's that other Nico Riley?
Yeah.
Academy as well. But I think Guardiola wants somebody that is sort of cemented in that position, somebody that you can solidify over there, because Nico Riley tends to like invert, he becomes a midfielder, whereas Josko Vardiel, he is more of a central defender, whereas like over the last couple of seasons he has been like pushing forward and stuff like that, but then that just leaves like this open spaces at the back. And if anybody has seen what happened with Rico DeMarco over the weekend, and having a wing back over there that can't actually track back that well, I think he wants somebody that is proven in the Premier League, somebody who's basically performed to the highest level every season since he's joined Wolves. And I think it will be a very good signing. 50 mil is quite a bit of money. Curious to know what you guys think of that deal.
Yeah, give us some thoughts there. Do you think that them signing means that the they'll just go for a more attacking style of play next season, or is this guy just going to be a left wing back? Is he going to be a left winger, or what's
I
happening?
think on the plus side, you could probably say they're looking for something similar to what Kyle Walker gave them on the right. So Ait Nouri obviously gives them that pace, that overlapping, and so on. But I think since United side Cunha, AF's talking the Wolves players up quite a bit there, making them sound like they are the savior to all the teams. But I feel like City signed a player from Wolves last season. Is it Nunes? And
Yeah.
I think he was
It
a bit
was
of a
2
flop
seasons ago.
2 seasons
Mateus,
ago.
yeah,
So
2 seasons.
I
2
wouldn't
seasons ago.
hold my breath. It
Well,
could
to be
great.
fair, they played him at right back last season, and he's not even a defender. So in his first season when he joined, he actually wasn't bad at all.
But also, to be fair, Pep said that he's not a midfielder. He said that his best position is a right back. So I'll have some identity
Yeah.
crisis if my coach tells me that I'm not a
All I'm
midfielder. I've
saying
played
is
midfield my life.
I'm picking up a Wolves/Portuguese bias. So I thought I'll just
This is Jorge
bring that to the
Mendes.
forefront.
This is Bruno Fernandes' bruh.
Ruben Neves.
Ruben Neves. It's that same fate. Ramis is asking, where's he getting it? It's somewhere in Peru. Somewhere where all the Portuguese are. It's as simple as that. I've solved the case. Exactly. I've solved the case. Mubin, you obviously on that side. There's your guy, my bro. 8 parcel and a fader. 150.
Honestly, like I feel like this is not going to be good for the player though, because of all the reasons that we've said. Even though he is going to be good for City, I don't think he's going to be good for. It's not going to be good for him as a player, because we've seen what happens to people that are kind of flair players. Because Ait Nouri is kind of a flair player. He's very much on the ball. Does what he wants. He's on that wing bombing. But he comes back as well. But he's very much a fair player. And when flair players go to City, unfortunately, they take all the flair out of them, and they're kind of more stringent with him. And I think it's gonna hurt him. And I think he's gonna get exposed if that's the case. So I don't want. The champs are here, Ashfar. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We announces himself every week the exact same.
Every week, bro. He's like.
Now he has a partner. Now.
All I want to know is, check here. How big is the bra that he talks about himself as a plural? He's a champs.
I'm sure he's talking about me and him. There's two of us.
Yeah, the two
every
Liverpool
week
fans.
the same thing. I think he just copy and pasted from the week before.
I think it's actually a pretty good segue, so that we can move on to our next transfer. And this is all you.
Pronounce his name correct, please.
This one is for you. Look, I did choose it because the name was going to throw me off, and I did my research. Apparently, I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Quivin or something like that. But essentially, it's the Irish Kevin. Now, you tell me how that spelling gets you to Kevin, bruh. Like, what the hell? Like all that letters to say Kevin. Just Kevin, bruh. Keep it simple. Anyway, Kelleher, fantastic goalkeeper. Obviously, the backup keeper at Liverpool, but had a lot of time to shine because I feel like Alisson's been injured quite a bit. Thank you, Hamza. Quivin, I tried it, but I still don't think I'm getting it right. But I think it's a pretty good deal, 12.5 mil, according to AF, and I think it can rise to about 18 million. He's replacing Flecken, who's gone. He's replacing Flecken that went to Bayer Leverkusen to play for AF's former manager, the Dutch man, ETH.
Walter White.
And yeah, I think Kelleher, it's time to shine. It's his time to be a number one. And I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Definitely a good signing for them. And I think they've done well to acquire. I mean, everybody has spoken so much about Kelleher being the best number 2 in the league. And I think some people have even put him at I think in the top 5 goalkeepers of the league, which, I mean, it's all Liverpool players and possibly his mother. So that's fine. So I think it's a good move. He'll get consistent game time. He'll also... I think it would be a good step up to see how he can manage being a full-time number 1 and not just like, okay, you'll substitute for as long as Alisson is injured and then he gets back. It's definitely something to plant, and I suppose a good move for Flecken. A lot of Brentford fans are almost happy because they say he was very error-prone. I can't claim to watch a lot of Brentford or to have seen lots of Brentford, but some of the comments on him leaving has been like... they're actually quite happy. So yeah, it might be a bit of an upgrade for them. But yeah, is that all the transfers we've got, right?
Diaz can maybe just chip in with
Oh,
the one that's going to make him sad.
okay, guys, look here. So all of us prepped something, right? But Riaz was still so hungover from his title win or his little tournament win. So he hadn't submitted his transfer on time. But what we will do is we're going to talk about his favorite player that's not playing at Liverpool, Arsenal. What other teams has he put? Spurs,
United,
Man United. So
yeah.
Tajani Reinders, there was a year ago sometime this afternoon. So he's off to City. Give us your thoughts on that move, especially since Rodri is now back to full fitness, but also the fact that they signed, who is that? Nico Fernandes. They put like 60 mil down there. I think it takes a spending for the calendar year to like, I think 350 maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us your thoughts on the move itself. And do you think it's a success? Do you think it's a dub signing?
I am worried because, well, firstly, how are they allowed to be making signings? I don't understand. That's the first thing I would like to say. Because what happened to the charges? That's a great question, by the way. I'll discuss that now. But
of course, he knows his best position. He can play a 6 on a Saturday, a 8 on a Monday, and a 10 on a Friday.
It's my favorite player, and of course I know his best position. But how's that guy in the chat? I feel like I saw him a couple of seconds ago. But listen, on a serious note, how are they able to kind of sign players? This doesn't make any sense. What was the findings? Like, do we not have
they clearly know something that we obviously don't, right? And they're not going to get sanctioned, or they'll get like a slap on the wrist. That's the phrase, right? So yeah, they're clearly just going to go ahead and sign as many players as they need to.
This is ridiculous, and this makes me sad because it's going to take one of my favorite players and make him that might be the number one. He's back, unfortunately, but I think it's going to make one of my favorite players kind of a bench warmer. But if he can't get into the team, I think him and Rodri will be an unbelievable partnership. I think his best position is an 8. To that question earlier, I think his best position is an 8. I think he's a much more box-to-box player with that technical side that he does have. I think it's an amazing signing. 50 million, I think, is good. And I just wish he went to a place where he was going to play a majority of the games. I'm hoping that he's still. Maybe they brought him in for a Kevin De Bruyne replacement. Maybe that's the case, and then maybe he will play most of the games.
And I think if you factor in the Club World Cup and the four other tournaments at the end, I think there's going to be enough games to go around for once.
But it could also be more. Yeah, it could be like a succession plan as well, because Kevin De Bruyne is going, but also Kovacic, as much as he's got the limbs of a ballerina, I think he's also getting on in age now, isn't it? And there's something about Croatian players that can play for long, but you have to start looking at something else because Gundogan's still there, and
it's aging. His midfield is aging.
Yeah. So 26, right?
I think he's 26 or 28, one of the two.
Come on, man. If he's your favorite player, maybe give us all these Zodiac signings. Come on. You know.
He's a Leo like me now. I'm joking. I have no idea. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm just happy I get to see him play more often. So that's going to be awesome next season. And
so I appreciate watch a lot of City games.
No, Premier League games more than I watch the Italian league.
Likely story, it seems, huh?
I hate, honestly, for the past 2 seasons, I hate watching City play. It's been so boring. So I haven't watched City play much because they are genuinely boring.
As far if you want to do that, you can pay the money, bro. I will happily put it on the screen. 100%.
Please, man. First come, first serve, guys. Don't hold back. Give us all the sponsors, okay?
Okay, quick one.
That sort of wraps up.
Move on. Don't wrap up. Don't wrap up. Hold on.
Do you have another transfer?
I just want to throw it out into the chat. The chat is going raucous. So I thought, let me give them something just to focus their thoughts a little bit. There's obviously talk about Jack Grealish leaving City. So I just read the story before we went online that he's going to be left out of their Club World Cup squad because his future is elsewhere. Now, if he can tap into Jack Grealish Villa, if he can tap into that, in the chat, if you can let us know which Premier League club do you think he'd be a good fit for. for this coming season?
I like that
That's
question.
what I
I'm
want to
listening.
throw
I'm
out there.
listening. I'm
Okay,
listening.
now
And,
fair play.
Mr. Host, I'll throw it back to you now.
No, thank you, Mr. Co-host. And that was our foreign correspondent. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see because they also paid 100 mil for him, and he didn't sign on a 1-year contract. So there's going to be some sort of fee. So they'll still make something of him, even if it is going to be running at a loss. But yeah, we've got Villa, and then we've got Punditry. I think why he's not going to the Club World Cup is because it's summer in Europe. And that's prime drinking time.
He's going to Ibiza.
Yeah,
Don't
he's probably
disrespect
gonna do
my
like a
other boy
Bobby.
like this. Don't disrespect
Yeah,
my
like
other
a
boy.
party promoter, surely. Okay, we got one more comment before we move on. We got
like
Rogers,
that one.
Grealish, and again with Asensio off the bench is mad. Is Asensio on loan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's essentially going back to PSG.
But they might make it permanent. I'm not sure. We're not sure about that yet. He's the only one I
Brentford
think.
will be a wild signing. I don't think he's. I've never seen Jack Grealish as being exceptionally quick. So the Nottingham Forest move might kind of go against what they're trying to establish
I like
there.
the Brentford. I like the Brentford since
Yeah.
Mbeumo is obviously moving on to bigger and better things. Maybe Grealish
He's
can
just
take
moving
his
on.
space.
Hey,
He's just moving on.
respect.
Bigger because the stadium is bigger, but better doesn't mean better. There's a mice infestation. People, don't let it distract you. Remy is still running the kitchen there, and that's why the players aren't injured. They're sick.
So that's why we can fire the kitchen
No,
staff because
man.
he's making the food.
You firing the kitchen staff to fund signing Cunha.
Yeah.
People must bring their own lunch now.
Now that Bruno's not going to Saudi, we have to probably sell kidneys and stuff like that in Old Trafford.
Anyway,
AF as a supporter can't even have his own window. He has to share space with you.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, let's not dwell too many
Wait, one more question.
One more question.
Sorry, I also have one question as the local correspondent. AF, would you take 100 million for Bruno, or do you want to keep Bruno next season?
I would have taken the 100 million. I feel like he deserves. So I'm gonna go back to what you said about Harry Kane, whenever he left. He is a good enough player and he deserves to win big trophies. And if there was an opportunity for him to actually go win something big, then I feel like
what's he gonna do in
it would have been
Saudi?
a no-brainer. And also the fact that he's 30 years old. If he's gonna stay at United now, no European competition this season, at least try to fulfill some of those ambitions that he has, because this United project is not winning anything major within the next 3 years, probably.
Look, he could have chased that Asian Champions League.
You would have been in the Club World Cup.
It would have been the Club World Cup, yeah. But again, the Bochum Mokoena is going to be playing there. Sundowns is going. I don't know what and people don't want to believe me. And yes, we might have lost against Pyramids. This is our local show. But yeah, okay. Look, as the host, I'm going to say, let's move on to the next section because we still got to debate about all of our teams. Yeah. So just briefly, we'll chat about that final and what could have been 7 or 8. AF, talk to me about Desiree Doué, somebody that you propped up a while ago on the bigger stage.
Actually, probably about a year ago when we were doing the transfer update.
Yeah.
And he was on the verge of there were so many, I think 5 Premier League clubs.
Yeah.
He eventually went to PSG. Everything that I read about him, everybody's calling him generational. The first half of the season, I think the guy was showboating too much during the matches. Okay. Luis Enrique probably had a bit of a word with him, told him, check here, you are 19 years old, you have your whole career ahead of you.
Yeah.
Just do the basics right. And I mean, that final, you just bossed it from start to finish, eh?
Absolutely magnificent performance. And I mean, 19, not overall by the moment of it all, showing all of his technical quality, showing all the class. Ziad, I'm going to ask you, as the only centre-back here, Marquinhos has been at PSG for as long as I can remember. And
since the start of the project.
Yeah, since the start. He came in with the first Qatari owner. They walked in hand. For him to fulfill this after so many years, what an amazing feat. And do you think it goes down now as possibly one of their best players, having captained the team to that Champions League final win?
Yeah, always. I think if you look at it, I mean, he's seen other star centre backs come and go, and he's managed to stay and kind of just work through everything that's been through that club, all the stars that have come in, all the big money signings, and he just got in, did his work, and got to a point where the rest of the squad respected him. He's the right leader at the right time, and yeah, it's a great achievement for him. And obviously, every picture, every memory, it's going to be about him lifting that trophy essentially. And it's also going to kind of be a reminder of what could have been for the other guys. So obviously, I think Messi captained that team, Mbappe captained that team, and nothing came from it. So yeah, I think great achievement for him and for PSG as a whole.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you'd think when you look at the defenders they had, and I think especially Thiago Silva, who had done exceptionally well when he had joined. Marquinhos joined around about the same time as him, and he was the young guy that was, I wouldn't say groomed isn't the word, but mentored by Thiago Silva. And then to finally get to that end point, which is all PSG have ever wanted, because I mean they wrap up their league by January already. So there's only one competition to play for the last remainder of the season. Riaz, I'm going to come to you just because we've now highlighted midfielders in Tijani Reinders, but I want to specifically zone in on Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz. And in a game that we always pegged the midfield to be the key battle, what an absolute amazing performance by those three, and particularly Vitinha, the metronome.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He was absolutely everywhere. Picking up the ball from the defenders, making sure the ball goes wide. He's on the one side, switching the ball over to the other side, going to fetch it again, recycling the ball. He's always in and around where the ball is. And in order for that to work, you need someone who fills in the space, which is what Fabian Ruiz does so well. The left-hand side, who was it? What's the Mendes, the left back? He's beat bombs, and Ruiz pulls in perfectly in there. Vitinha is coming over to cover, and it works perfectly well as a unit. So as long as your midfield, if one does something, that someone else is there to kind of back him up, it works perfectly. And that's exactly a problem that kind of plagued Barella and Calhanoglu at the end of the day. It's that they couldn't get hold of the ball because Vitinha and Ruiz were doing such a good job at keeping the ball spinning it. Also, Hakimi's been popping up everywhere as well. Like sometimes he's a striker.
He could be a striker. You must watch out. Arsenal might sign him, bro. Arsenal's a marketable striker.
It's crazy. And then sometimes he's next to Fabian Ruiz in the middle of the field. So it's so confusing as to the way it works, but it works very well. And Luis Enrique's got that team flowing so well that if one guy switches positions going into the middle, there's another guy out wide. Like, let's say Hakimi comes into the middle, Vitinha's wide. It just happens like that. Vitinha's wide, hoping to receive the ball, playing it to the winger to do it. So, massive props to them. They deserve it. They deserve to destroy them as well because they played so much better than them. And once again, a kind of an advert for kind of progressive football winning the day as opposed to Jose Mourinho pragmatic football. So I was happy to see it at the end of the day.
And Postecoglou's scrappy goal football is what you wanted to say. You leave Jose out of this. Last one, just on that Champions League, because we found in recent years that the Champions League is the main sort of predictor and swayer when trying to decide Ballon d'Or, right? So on the back of the season that maybe Rafinha's had at Barca, Ousmane Dembele's had, but even a guy like Salah at Liverpool, with the performance that we saw over the weekend, do we think my shout that I'd given last week, Ousmane Dembele, is he in it for Ballon d'Or, or is there still a chance that maybe due to Rafinha's, league and Copa del Rey win that he possibly still gets in there?
Dembele won a treble, bro. So a European treble, including the Champions League. So
is that the thing? Is that
I think it would be weird if he didn't win, because we've seen this happen before already so many times over the years. The player who wins the European treble, like including the Champions League, they go on to normally win the Ballon d'Or. So I'm just going on historic sort of awards. I'm calling it for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you as well. I'm with you as well. Unfortunately, And I'm with Ramiz as well on this one. Maybe if you get to keep it fit before he gets that
There's something that he took this season, man, because he was supposed to be out for the second leg against Arsenal, and then the Bra was like, he normally takes 6 weeks for a hamstring injury. 2 days, man is ready to go. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, because now
drug
the
testing.
trainers probably had more time to work with him with Mbappe gone.
That's also fair. Yo, I don't even want to shine a light on how Kylian must have been sitting in the corner just crying.
As far as this is what we are having a conversation about.
Okay, as far as guess is obviously Salah, right? So Salah puts up world-class numbers, but without any European success, he's not going to get, I'm not going to say he's not going to get close in the conversation, but I think it's now heavily swayed into Dembele's.
Here's the thing though. Like I feel like Dembele will be one of the worst Ballon d'Or winners in the recent memory. Like for me personally, because I just don't like I prefer to give it to Vitinha. Give it to Vitinha. He's the one who made them tick. Dembele scored some goals, whatever. He's still injured half the time.
These awards sadly don't work like this, right? It's just
I know. That's why I'm sad about it.
It's never really about the best player per se.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a storyline basically and how you promote it, and ultimately what a lot of the journalists are saying, it's the player from the best team in Europe, essentially the best player on the best team in Europe that gets it. Since Ronaldo and Messi are out of it, it's now a bit of a wide open race. For me, I personally think Salah is that guy. It should be that guy even without the European trophies. But like I have mentioned, it's pretty straightforward. I think Rafinha doesn't have a chance because the treble trumps whatever he did, and they lost in the semi-final, whereas PSG went all the way. So
I think though, like a battle between Rafinha and Salah would have been more fair than just giving it to Dembele because he won.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
put up.
We can have our own awards that run parallel.
Yeah, so
Bean can come up with a name to replace Ballon d'Or. We leave that with him.
Yeah, look, it's now. I mean, this comment adds to what Ziad was saying, that it's not actually about who's the best player; it's just who's popping. But I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Dembele. He also did go on an unreal run. Maybe it's not as many goals as Salah did, but I think he also got like 40 something.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, so it's not without reason, but it shows the unfortunate nature of timing in that. I think outside Messi and Ronaldo, Neymar was probably the third best player for many seasons, but he's never going to win it.
Is that Bruno G? Bruno G,
if they have a Ballon d'Or internal award at Old Trafford, I think he'd still lose out to Harry Maguire.
I think AF WhatsApp to they go, look here, come on, and just give me some support to United. Go.
I believe that. Even though I didn't see the chat, maybe you sent it earlier.
Is Tahir gonna come out of the door at the back there?
Nah.
Maybe
that's
not.
my door. That's my door. No one can come out of there besides me.
Anybody that uses the toilet comes literally. I wouldn't be claiming that room.
Nobody knew before you said it. Yeah, so that's that door right there. Oh wait.
Nah. Close. But okay, yeah. Let us know then if it's not Dembele and if it's not Bruno, if he somehow misses out, then who is Ballon d'Or winner this season?
There was actually a storyline where if it could have been Rumour if he had more to do in the final, but I think that's far-fetched.
Look, his run definitely, he could have possibly got like Champions League player because he definitely kept him in the game. Even the Liverpool game, he was the difference in the Liverpool game. Arsenal. He was the difference in the Arsenal game. Yeah. And I'd say it was the difference in the final if he had any real work to do.
I like that our segment last week was the battle of the goalkeepers.
Yeah. And it was Jan Sommer picking the ball out of the net the whole time, and then Donnarumma just chilling. He could have literally lit up a cigar and he would have had the best time of his life. Okay, let us know, because I thought for a long time, even though Rafinha was putting up those numbers, I still thought Lamine Yamal was in with a shout. If he had gotten to the final, it would have been a lovely battle to have seen Lamine Yamal against it would have been Mendes, right? Right and left. Yeah, that would have been great. It would have been interesting to see how Ashraf Hakimi would have got forward if like Olmo was on that other side, and it would have just been everything. But yeah,
Did you see the name for Ballon d'Or there?
So I didn't show up. Yeah, that's fair, man. That's fair. Look,
Like us to do. Yes.
and there was still that other, and I mean, I can't. Is it chocolate? You man. Okay, let's leave that now and let's go to the fun stuff. So, thanks to nobody who put their team in the comments. We're gonna jump now to our team of the season. So back to the technology. So we got Ziad's team up first. What we'll do is he'll just go through the team, maybe give some thoughts, and then if there's anybody that possibly missed out, that was honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, it's pretty straightforward. Sales I went for because he had a great season for Forest, helped keep them in that battle at the top, shared the Golden Glove with Raya. Munoz at the right back, I think he was a standout. No one saw him really coming, unless any of you did. I didn't see him coming before this, and I thought he had a great season.
Riaz also supports Crystal Palace.
Yeah, obviously with the win, Van Dijk was phenomenal this season. Obviously, as a captain, led Liverpool really well. Saliba, funny enough, with the stats, he did fairly well, but unfortunately, a lot of the memories of Saliba this season were the big errors, unfortunately. But overall, solid season. Kirkes, Liverpool been dreaming about him now for the past couple of weeks. I think he'll end up there. Fantastic season at left back. I don't know how Bournemouth keep doing it. They just find these gems. Midfield, pretty simple. Gravenberch obviously had a great season, won that Young Player of the Season award. Declan Rice, I don't need to say anything there. Gibbs White, I thought there was a couple of other guys could have gone with him, maybe Cole Palmer or a couple of other guys. But I liked what Gibbs White did. I thought he was very important for Forest. And he kind of took that step up, into a higher tier. And it was fairly consistent, I think, throughout the season. Front line, again, Salah, no need to say much there. Alexander Isak over Mbuemo for me. I thought Isak he's just a full package as a striker. He can do everything. So great season for Newcastle. And yeah, I went with Jared Bowen. I thought he also had a great season for West Ham. And it's a bit of recency bias as well because I think he finished the season off quite strong. He also made that step up into the England setup and seems to be someone to watch going forward. I think he has another gear to shift into. So yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, that's it. All good. Okay, we jump into AF. Talk to me.
Yeah, so pretty much like myself and Ziad have quite a few players in common over here. Yeah, Sal's in goal, like that's pretty straightforward, echoing everything that Ziad just said now. And at right back, I have Nico Williams. I feel like everybody's speaking about like Chris Wood and Anthony Langa and Morgan Gibbs White, but I think like at the back of the team in defense, he's been really good pushing up but also tracking back. The guy is actually blitz fast. His goal contributions is quite high. So yeah, I think that was even though he plays left back, he has played a couple of games at right back. So it was really like me trying to like find out like where can I actually fit him in, because on the other side, I think like Cucurella, at the starting of the season, I was bashing him. I was thinking that he's going to be like out of it. He's going to be caught out really quickly. But he turned out to be like Chelsea's most clutch player during the season, I think. In the middle of Van Dijk, Saliba, that's pretty straightforward, everything that Ziad just said as well. In the midfield, my extra player there, or the different player, is Bruno Fernandes. And I was going to have one United player in there, and it's going to be the guy that basically bailed us out. Ahmad was injured for about 3 or 4 months, so
bailed you out of relegation.
Yeah. Had to. Everything to like finish above Spurs. Had to get that there. And then the front line, Salah, I mean, that goes without saying. The guy's been unreal this entire season. Every time he got on the ball until he signed his contract, he was actually doing something mad. He signed the contract and then he forgot how to play football. But yeah, like by that time, Liverpool won the league already. Alexander Isak, he's been insane, like a complete striker, complete package. The guy can do everything. He can carry the ball, he can finish, he can provide. And then, Matthias Cunha, the new United player. Had to bring him in, but 20 goal is it 20 goal contributions for the season?
Could be, yeah. Could be.
Which is,
And
it's
a few red cards in there as well, right?
And a
so
few
he
red
has
cards.
he has a bit of bite about him.
Choking players.
Yeah,
His own players, not the
His
opposition.
own players, yeah.
Wasn't he almost on the way out? Wasn't him and Mario Lemina almost like together on the same plane on the way to Turkey?
But then they got rid of O'Neill instead. And then Vitor Pereira came in and then put the guy straight.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair. Vitor Pereira, what a guy. Got more points than Amorim in this last few. From like Jan, something like that. Maybe United must go after him also.
I think he was like top 3 managers in the Premier League since he took over.
Yo.
Yeah.
Now, okay, fair play. Look, I think most of it's going to be similar. I'm going with Raya because I'm biased, and I said that there was going to be some sort of bias. But also, I think it's overshadowed by the fact that Arsenal did defend well this season, even though we didn't win as many games. I think we conceded the least number of goals, so that explains why Jurrien Timber is in that back line. Van Dijk, Saliba, I would have gone Gabriel over Saliba. I think Mubin had mentioned that. I think injury threw him out a bit. For Timber, the reason I went with him over anybody else was just because he had done his ACL last season, and then to play the whole season, I think giving comfortably 7.5 performances every game week, maybe not as many goal contributions, but for me as a defender, you must know how to defend, and I think he does that well. Kuko Umbrella, I put that in against my better judgment, but I think I forgot about Kirkies, so that's why I went there. Also, a little bit of recency bias. I don't think he started the season well, but I think he came into it and he became extremely clutch towards the back end of the season, especially in the games that they had to win. Definitely believe. I think Gabriel is massively underrated in the league. I still think back to the time when Nikita said that Gabriel's not even the best Gabriel at our club. And
I think you came around.
Eventually, after I felt like I was beating and pleading there, Salah makes his case for him. There's no need. Only reason he's there is because Saka was injured for 3 months. Bruno Fernandes in because he saved United from being relegated. Declan Rice, obviously the 2 free kicks against Madrid doesn't count, but everything else does. Also got a few red cards, so that always tells me something. He has something to him, even if it was silly red cards.
Kicking the ball away.
Yeah. Look here.
Aggression.
Guys, look here. I'm not telling you. AF argued with me that day it happened. AF said, nah, J.O., this bro did. He kicked the ball. The softest touch ever. No, I haven't forgotten about it. I can show you in my journal entry. I still remember the day. AF made me mad. But anyway.
I back him. He's right.
Brian Mbeumo. Just because, what a season. I think when Ivan Toney left and people were wondering where the goals were going to come from, I don't think they expected Brian Mbeumo to step up the way he did, him and Johan Visser. And Visser would have been in if it wasn't for Isak and the journeyman, Chris Wood. His best Premier League season in a time when people are throwing it back to Barkley's journeyman, Streets won't forget. I think we'll remember the season. So, Chris Wood definitely very pivotal in what Wolves achieved for majority of the season. And then with him getting injured, you saw the form dip. So, that's me. And then the final Football Manager. Talk to me.
This guy somehow went for the most complicated formation. But I don't know if it's because he loves Ruben Amorim more than I do.
Yeah. The 3 at the back.
I was going to say
that left heel dag.
What do you mean? That's
man
so
got one
solid.
centre back.
I got one centre back. That's perfect. You don't need another one. Who needs Virgil van Dijk? You're gonna foul and elbow people in the face anyway. We don't need him in the team. Sal's is self-explanatory. We got there. With J.O. and Timber. I think he can play anywhere in the back line. He's been solid. Arsenal have the least amount of goals conceded, as we said. Milinkovic, I think, has been not really underrated this season, but I think they brought him for 15 million and he's been good at both ends of the field. I think he's been defensively very sound and he's also scored very, very important goals for them as well. Cucurella is... I was battling with the Cucurella thing. And look what happened. Not one Spurs player was in there. Look what happened. Cucurella, I didn't want to put in. I'll give it to you afterwards, Asfar. You can... I didn't want to put Cucurella in, but I didn't want to put Virgil in even more. So I had to put Cucurella in there. And Kirkes and Munoz, I think we've said enough about them as well. I think the ability for them to bomb is super important. They've both played in teams where they have that ability, especially Munoz on that right-hand side. It's basically good for him because he plays in this formation week in, week out in this 3-4-3. And he does really well in at both ends once again. Gravenberch and Rice, I think the two best central midfielders from the season. I think all of us had them in the team. I think that's self-explanatory. Even though Rice is reckless with his red cards, I had to just put him in anyway. And of course, the front three, Salah is self-explanatory and so is Isak. But Matheus Cunha, it was difficult. I was going to put Mbeumo in, but my brief was stick to position. So Mbeumo plays on the right, so I couldn't really do that. Bruno Fernandes missed out as well a little bit because I didn't think he was good enough either. You can't really replace Rice or Gravenberch. And Tonali as well for Newcastle also missed out there, as well as Virgil, obviously, but Virgil was more by design than anything else. And Gibbs White as well, I thought did really, really well this season as an honorable mention. But Cunha, I think, played really well with that left-hand side in a team that was really bad. I think he was important for them to get out of that relegation zone, just like Bruno Fernandes was for United. I think both of them, without either of them, I think their teams would have struggled to get out of that relegation fight. So I'm very excited to see him play in this formation next season for United. I just don't know if he's going to play in that Isak position up front or if he's going to play in that left channel. So that's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, that's my team. Honestly, I should have gone Virgil, but I'm biased.
Don't backtrack now, man. Own it.
I'm biased. Just like you guys were biased, I'm also biased. Everybody's biased.
None of that bias. That's just, yeah. So we've got one here, right? So we've got Sals, Munoz, Milinkovic, VVD, Kirkes. Okay, very straightforward. We've got a different midfield with Gravenberch, McAllister, Rice. Okay, the difference being McAllister. And then we've got Salah, Isak, Mbeumo. So, yeah, I think it's the standard consensus, right?
Yeah.
The honorable mentions as well. I think everybody had the same ideas. You can only have 11. If we had a full squad, we'd have bench players. What we will ask, though, is for the four of us here, who's manager of the season?
I'm imagining this. Imagine like Cunha, Kirkes, and Cucurella all chilling in the box at the same time.
Yeah.
Not the box, the opposition box. Like his IF side is like wide open.
Luckily, you have a
Yes, cover.
6'17" Milinkovic and then a 5'1" Timber to stop all the attack. That's perfect.
Perfect balance, bro.
Yeah.
And the best shot stopper in the
as
league.
far as typing his team, and after he pressed goalkeeper, he was trying to type Ryan, he pressed enter.
Isn't it late, maybe? Isn't he like giving a team full of chips?
Nah, that's not
Right back
technology.
Fritos. Yeah, right back Fritos.
He could have
two
just waited to
centre
press
backs,
enter
Tuki and
after he typed the
Konache.
whole team in.
Yeah. Okay. So while we wait for that, then
Waiting for that.
manager of the seasons he had. Give me a go there. Just off the cuff there. Is it Arteta and why?
I'm gonna go Slot. To win it in
Slot.
the first season is phenomenal.
Okay. Fair play. If
Yeah, I'm going Slot as well.
go Slot.
Like,
Okay.
first season, brand new league that you're in. Like you're inheriting a good squad, but you still have to get it over the line.
Okay. Riaz, talk to me. Ange.
I do think Slot did really, really well, but I need someone to fit my system. I need someone to fit my system. Or this
Nah,
It's
yeah.
not a manager for your team,
What?
but are you the manager for your team? I need a manager of the season.
So I'm gonna go with Nuno Espirito Santo, someone who knows how to work this 3-4-3 system.
That's that was my
Okay.
second
No,
place.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
you
was
were
also
gonna
gonna
do
say
Oli
Nuno.
Glasner.
No,
Asfar
So
stopped
Nuno
typing
would
after he sent his goalkeeper and he just chose a manager rather.
Yeah, look, you have a manager and a goalkeeper, and you just hope that Raya can save penalties. That's all it's going to be. That's two keepers. So we've got our two keepers set. But I was actually going to go Glasner just because I think Crystal Palace were also on the brink. And Nuno is a good shout if they had made Champions League, because last season was getting relegated to then go I
Europe,
almost feel like, I'm not going to say, it sounds like it's going to be very like I'm trying to stoke something, but it was primed for, I think if anybody came, that new manager bounce for Liverpool would have been, and okay, Slot had to obviously do it, and I'm not discrediting him. I'm just trying to think of Ollie Glasner and what he did with Crystal Palace with a fraction of the budget, with losing some of your key players last season, and then having to deal with things that maybe the other teams don't. So yeah, if there is a 2-horse race, I'm gonna go Glasner and then Slot. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Glasner this season.
I like that. I like the whatchamacallit, the left field throw there, Jason. You'll have to see it.
Yeah, man. Look, I mean, Areola definitely, Bournemouth, I think it's the highest finish that they've had. And also to get some key results against some of the big teams. That was impressive. Glasner, as we said, Hurtzler started very well, fell off a bit. And then, I think he soon found out that he couldn't. I think at the start he was very like cocky about it. And then he got humbled very quickly. And that period humbled them very, very quickly.
And I think like somebody like Marcus Silva can fall into that same sort of bracket. Also
always starts well, and then
like it's lost steam.
Yeah, there's a tweet that I saw about how every season there's a certain number of teams that win games, right? And you're like, oh, this team is good, and they finish the same position, and it's Bournemouth, it's your Fulhams, it's your Brightons. They all look like they're going to do so well, and then they just slowly disappear.
Yeah.
But I think it's more just the traditional top six that then get into their stride and then just overtake them. But yeah, so that was good.
Some of the traditional top six, not all of them.
Yeah, no, the whole traditional top six needs to be worked away because
I agree.
It's so dumb, right? Because Arsenal there were talks of kicking them out when you finished 8th. And that's
where do you hear these talks from? Where do you hear this? You just go into Arsenal hate threads and go down and
I think it was one of those football troll sites, man. That was actually, but it was like it was a pretty popular thing. So that was last year. That's fine, man. Arsenal cemented second in the traditional top six.
There you go.
Speaking about Crystal Palace and Glasner, like I read something this morning, they might not be able to play Europa League next season. So
why not?
Their owner has a majority stake in Olympic Lyon. And Olympic Lyon is in the Europa League. They also made it, and they finished higher on the log, so they basically get preference. Whereas Crystal Palace qualified via cup win.
But then would they go to conference?
No, they lose European football altogether, and then basically whoever finished, I think it's Brighton and Brentford, or whoever finished like 7th or 8th or something like that. They get the Europa League spot and the Conference League spot.
That's crazy.
So there's a huge discussion going on now. I think they set a D-Day of like Friday to get an answer if they're actually going to play European football now or not.
Didn't they have the same situation with like a Chelsea and Strasbourg, where like Strasbourg was also on for like something really good, and then they said nah, because I mean, look, Chelsea is owning like half of that team. They own half of that team. I think it was something similar. They somehow worked it out, and they sold some shares to do all of that. But
they put it in a blind
it would be pretty
trust.
hard after the season they had to not get Champions League. I mean,
I think they'll figure it out, man. They'll figure it out.
I hope so.
We just got a few more comments there. As far as asking, what about worst manager of the season? Can we say Amorim? As far as I think as a Liverpool fan, I'm sure you can probably say that. You can say Fergie if you want to. It's true. It's really up to you.
That would have to be fun.
For most promising, probably been the most promising. Yeah, been promising through since day one. As far as what you have to understand is that phase 7 is where we reminisce about phase 4. So we must still get there. But
what does that even mean? Can you explain that to me?
I don't even know. I know there's 5 phases. I don't think the first phase factored in red cards and injuries.
I think Bram might just get his peanut butter sandwich rather.
Only with coffee. Otherwise, I keep it rather. Then I can rather give it to somebody else. But yeah, I'd say I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on worst manager. I'm not sure if there is. I don't think.
Look, the relegation teams. I don't know how bad it was with the management. The squads obviously just weren't good enough. Couple of guys got fired there as well. But I think Amarim has a strong case if you look at his points tally that he got since he came in. Obviously
Yeah, but
with
when
what
you
he had,
have
and then
when you have a
Ten Hag,
crap
obviously.
team, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, but I mean, their squad's way better than the squads that got relegated, right? So you'd assume that based on what they have, that they would have finished maybe 12th or 11th or something.
Yeah.
A bit more.
I think Ange also needs
respectable.
to.
Ange
There has
also,
to be
yeah,
something said about Ange.
I think you
Yeah,
gloss over
but Ange
Ange
got a
because he
title. How
came
many
away
titles
with a
did he get?
trophy.
We're talking about worst
it's-
manager in the Premier League.
Yeah, look,
Okay,
I'm not. Okay, yeah, Potter was it
Potter at
though. I
West
think
Ham.
he's.
Could have
I
also
think
done
like
Potter
better.
has moved
I like Potter
Chelsea
in-
mixed him up. And he's been trying to find his feet again. But
Chelsea
no, why I
ruined
was saying Ange is because in his second season, I think the first season was fine, right? The high line, gimmick, all of those things. But yeah, I think second season I would have liked to have seen something more. And you
can't do that, though,
win
with
that
most of your
trophy,
team
right?
out.
But that conversation can be very different for either of the teams.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Amarim's season isn't the worst if they get a scrappy goal.
Yeah, but now we're talking about what ifs. Now we're talking about what ifs.
Yeah,
and
we're
didn't
talking
happen.
about
okay.
facts
won
here.
the trophy.
We're talking
But
about
I'm just making the point that we're saying that Ange has to be in that convo as well because
agree,
Prem
but-
Pacific.
Yeah, Prem Pacific 100%. But at the end of the day, you're saying the second season promised more. You can't do anything with half your squad out for 3/4 of the season. So it's difficult. Whereas United, they didn't have such injury issues with Amarim at the helm, and they still didn't do too well. But also he did change the way that he plays. Everybody after the first season said, "Oh, Highline this, Highline that." In the final of Europa League, we parked the bus. We didn't attack at all.
No line.
There was no line. The line was our goal line. That was the line. So if people will say it doesn't, it doesn't change, we changed, which was the problem. But I agree, we definitely should be there. We definitely should be in there because our league form was ridiculous and we finished 17th, which is not one. It's not good at all.
But there was a couple of guys who got
I think
fired,
third
right?
season was cancelled.
I think we're missing a few guys. Like West Ham fired a manager. I think Everton fired a manager. Southampton maybe. Leicester fired a manager. So if we're going down that route, then probably that West Ham fellow was the worst of them all.
Yeah, Potter's probably the next, if not the next.
And we can't forget that Eric Ten Hag actually managed the season.
He did decently though, I think.
If you compare to what came in afterwards.
He was fifth on the log, so I don't know how bad he actually was.
I guess I'll settle with the West Ham guy.
Okay.
Lopetegui was
Graham Potter. Nah, that's fair.
Nah, man, not Potter, the one that got fired.
Lopetegui.
Yeah.
Everyone was fired. I mean, that's why I knew he was fraud already when he was fired, isn't it? We're talking about who had the time to. But yeah, that wraps up episode 120.
Wait.
Apparently it doesn't. Plot twist.
We have a celebration. I'm coming.
No. Bruno Fernandes plays football tonight. The Nations League semi-final.
He was running to the door. I forgot about the Nations League because I thought that, do these guys not breathe at all? They don't get a chance to spend time with their family.
We have Portugal versus Germany tonight. We have Spain versus France tomorrow night.
Okay,
Ousmane Dembele straight off a Champions League win.
Yeah.
Taking on Lamine Yamal tomorrow night.
But do all the players that won Champions League go into their national team squad now as well? Like
they're all very ready.
My goodness, these people, they tried to squeeze the last five.
They were making fun of him.
Because you were staring at Dembele, right? Or what?
Yeah, no. So Kylian Mbappe said everybody give a round of applause for the Champions League winners. And then everybody was, and then Marcus Thuram was just like sitting straight.
That is my bro.
Dusty.
You're going to revoke your citizenship. You must watch my bro. Macaroni is crazy. But yeah, okay.
So must work. They must work. No annual leave.
Men's are squeezing the last fiber out of each and every tendon and all of those things.
No, but it's crazy. So like the semi-final,
Portugal, you said?
Portugal Germany tonight. Spain, France tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday is the final. And then not too long after that, all those players were playing in the Club World Cup. They head over that way. They finish the Club World Cup, they go to their pre-season. No,
Man,
you didn't.
bro.
And then you get
Nah,
United that play a postseason.
Yeah, what about those guys? Bruno didn't get time to rest. He had to go
Dude.
play in Jakarta.
Yo,
What's
bro.
postseason,
Yeah.
bro?
Bro,
Like
that
showing
is
middle
so
finger
cool.
to
Mate,
fans
bro,
and stuff.
they went on with their day. Like, who? They don't want to see Aiden Heaven. They don't care about this, bro.
Aiden Heaven came with the goods, bruh.
Nah, fair play. Hail
Nah,
in,
the
bro.
way-
Hail in.
Dude, the best moment from that those preseason or postseason games, I suppose, was when Bruno Fernandes went 1-on-1. He went through 1-on-1 and he tried to Rabona the keeper 1-on-1.
Bruh, that one was
They were
so
just
good.
there for vibes, bro.
He was just there for the vibes moments, man. He wanted to run to that
They
screen
were
on the
there for
side, press the
vibes.
button, and have a Tetris clip, bruh. Surely. The man wanted that clip. But okay, yeah, there's still football tonight,
Yeah.
so I do apologies to AS Barber there, the Portuguese guy there at Continental Fisheries. I do apologize, my friend. Kuberg, sorry. Kuberg Fisheries. Paid, right parcel, 150. Yeah,
Free
Faith, where can
advertising.
people find you? Are you going to be watching? You're going to be watching him with the footy tonight. You're saying Bruno Fernandes.
I'm actually not watching tonight. I'm watching tomorrow night. Spain's playing, bro.
Oh, that's true. That's
So I
true.
have to.
Yeah,
support my
AFP
guys.
is a Spain guy,
Hey,
but I
that's
thought he was
the
a Bruno
peanut butter
Fernandes
jelly
guy
tonight.
more.
You
Eh?
go and watch any football. You must serve peanut butter jellies.
Oh yeah, true. Guys,
This guy knows where everything is in the South already, so
don't follow the socials, but just know that I'm going to get peanut butter and jam after this, okay? Yeah. Siad, our foreign correspondent, where can the people find you? And what's keeping you interested now that the football's done?
Basketball, bro. The NBA finals got some content dropping tomorrow. And the
Yeah.
finals start Friday morning for those in South Africa. Thursday night, obviously, in the States. Got some good golf every weekend. So, yeah, got enough sport. Baseball starting to heat up as well.
Yeah, isn't there rugby coming soon as well?
I don't
Or
know.
not
That's a
British
Riaz question.
Lions, but
Yeah,
much
isn't there
later.
rugby coming up? I mean, are you following URC? Are you following
Yeah, if
New
you are
Zealand?
following URC, tell us about this penalty shootout, bruh. What on
That
earth
was
was that?
interesting. That was interesting. I'm not sure like the what exactly happened there, but there was a whole controversy behind it. But anyways, it's one of the first shootouts I think I've seen, like an actual shootout for the winner of the game in what is it, the quarterfinal, quarterfinal,
Yeah,
something
I think
like
it's
that.
quarters.
For
Yeah,
the
quarters.
final, yeah.
And it was so interesting because usually like it goes to overtime or something. I've seen those, and then players just win it. But it's never actually gone to a kickoff, which was interesting to see. So yeah, Sharks at least won the game, so I'm happy about that. Another thing I blame Ziad for.
Nah,
Being a
it's fair
Sharks
play.
supporter.
Fair play. Yeah. Okay, so then what are you gonna keep up to date with, like now that the football's done? Are you gonna watch Club World Cup? Are you a Sundowns fan now also secretly?
We must support where we come from. I guess we come from Mamelodi Sundowns.
I love, yeah. He's a Sunday boy.
Yeah, I'm not a foreign correspondent. Yeah. So
Okay, nah, fair play.
Is that ugly
just
in the
going
Club
back from
World Cup?
Qatar, so that was the closest
think
thing
they
that I
are.
could think of.
that is
No, Al
true.
Ahly, bro. They got the Orlando Pirates coach.
Oh yeah,
There you
Joseph
go.
Zinba. Not Zinba? No. I don't know.
There
Okay,
you
so
go.
there's some decent
Winner.
sport. People can catch you at all the socials. Patrice Matsebe playing with the big boys. Yeah. Now look here.
Oh, there
Patrice
is
has
that
got
as well.
the cash money, but he's probably like the 12th richest bro at that tournament. Like not even the 12th, maybe he's in the top 20, top 30. There's a few heavy hitters there.
What do you mean by you guys? Like the W, but
panel.
is the panel.
channel.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I
Jason,
think
do you know
maybe
what the
means the channel.
WTC is?
What is that?
World
World
Test
Test
Championship.
Championship. South Africa versus Australia.
Tennis.
Nah.
Cricket, bro. Chai. Sure. Martinez.
Okay, name me one cricketer so that I can see if I'm still.
Timba Bavuma.
Oh,
There you go. The captain.
I
The
thought
only-
Timba Bavuma was a golfer now. I see it on
Check it.
posting him to play all the
Literally,
courses.
the only cricketer Jason knows was Simu Kadam.
Yeah, that and then maybe
You only
Baker's
got the
mini cricket guys.
rotation,
I
we
was
can
on
put
track to be the best Baker's mini cricket player ever. Until I realized what it was about, and I said, guys, this isn't for me. So I
I think they
stopped.
were
it.
going to give you biscuits.
Yeah, but that's the only reason I went to go play. I thought I was going to get biscuits. They just gave me water and orange slices. But yeah, okay, no. Yeah, is it? I mean, when is that happening then? Against Australia?
That's happening next week.
Soon. Next week, yeah. I think so. I think the 11th or something like that. Somewhere around there.
Pavuma, tell us in the chat there when the game starts.
Yeah, as far must know, man.
For you, Jason, there's tennis as well. Some Roland Garros this weekend final.
Yeah, there is tennis, but there is like Ziad said, there is quite a bit of golf. So I'm going to lock in. I think next week's the Open, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, this week is
it's going to be some interesting golf there as well. Yeah, I'll probably be catching some Club World Cup, and yeah, you can find me at AF Parker 642.
Yeah,
and at SportyCast. We are winding down, but also not winding down. So post-season, there'll be a few different types of content coming out. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. All of the comments to everybody. And there's one goalkeeper team that Asfar put together. Thank you for putting that team in the comments. We do appreciate that input. Raised, aka Lays.
He thought he's participating in a draft, man. So he's waiting for someone else.
No, but then he then jumped to assistant manager of the season already. No. So yeah, we do appreciate all the love, all the support. We'll be trying to get a bit more frequently together. Maybe Riaz actually does join us here one day, potentially. If he meets all of the deadline submissions. Guys, spam his socials to say that it must be on time, please. But yeah, that's been us for 343, and we'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.